It's also a complicated topic for the government because they know that they can win votes if they are strict with the ban. At the same time, they don't want to be...
At the same time, there are laws.
At the same time, there are laws, yeah. So how did the government react?
Well, we have seen quite a few different reactions from the government, and some of them being pretty ambiguous, we must say. We have, first of all, the Minister of Education, who is in the forefront of this debate, who had to step in and you say that yes, it is true. The law doesn't ban anyone from accompanying children and at the same time wearing a headscarf. But in the next sentence, as he said this, he also added, and this was some kind of personal view, I believe, saying, "But the headscarf is an unwanted feature in France." And this, of course, also created controversy because it wasn't clear what he was actually trying to say. Previously this week, after almost a week of raging debate, the president stepped in and he said, we need to follow the law. There is nothing banning these women to partake in these outings. And we should not create, we need to unite the country, more or less. But he stepped in very late.
Yeah, very late. And even he was ambiguous because in the wake of the attack at the police headquarters in Paris a couple of weeks ago, committed by a police officer or a civil servant working at the police headquarters who converted to Islam a couple of years ago, Macron said that we should create a vigilant society because, of course, this man was allegedly, we still don't know for sure, allegedly radicalized while his colleagues didn't see anything. So Macron said that we should be more vigilant. And of course, he probably meant that we should watch Muslims more carefully. So it's a double discourse also by Emmanuel Macron because he knows that with this rhetoric, he can also seduce the right-wing electorate. And of course, in 6 months, there are local elections. And Macron's party, La République En Marche, they really need every vote they can get because they're not doing very well in the polls. They also, they lost earlier or they didn't win the European elections earlier this year.
So how much do you think that this debate flaring up now is a political game and really says more about the political situation ahead of these local elections than actually, mirroring the sentiment that French people have?
I'm not sure whether the French in the street, the average Frenchman has an opinion about this. It probably doesn't even care.
If you look at French society in general, it functions pretty well. Most communities, most local.
Of course.
I mean, everywhere you go, you will have, parents going to outings. You will have parents participating in their children's activities, whether it's football clubs or school outings, and most of the time this is not an issue.
No, absolutely not. But it is true though that the percentage of Muslims in France is about 8%. That's about the same as in Sweden or the Benelux or Germany. And in all those countries you see women working with headscarves in supermarkets or universities or at hospitals, and that's really something you don't see that often here in France. So you could ask the question, are those women working with headscarves in the other countries better integrated, or is France doing a better job in banning the headscarf and letting those women, some kind of, in a way, adapting to what France thinks that are the right moral values and traditions? I don't know. I prefer to see women just doing whatever they like, but it's pretty complicated in France, huh?
Vous écoutez So French.
You are listening to So French.
So Sarah, we were just talking about the local elections coming up in 6 months. And speaking of local politics...
Our favorite local politician.
Yes.
This is the Patrick Balkany segment.
Yeah.
Well, as...
how is he doing?
I think he's doing... we do get regular updates, must say, about how he's doing in prison, because his wife, Isabelle Balkany, is actually giving quite often and quite regular interviews to French media and talking about what he's eating, what he's looking like, and how he's doing in prison. As you can remember, Patrick Balkany, mayor of the Parisian suburb Levallois-Perret, wealthy western suburb, he was convicted to 4 years in prison last month for having hid millions of euros from the authorities. His wife also was convicted, actually, to 3 years in prison. However, since she has appealed, well, both of them has appealed, and she was then actually allowed to continue to be a free woman until that appeal has been. But this was not the end, and this is it's not only the appeals trial we were awaiting, but today was actually the second part of these accusations, the more serious charges hanging over the Balkanies, money laundering and corruption. How did that end up?
Well, Patrick Balkany was not present in the courtroom when the judge sentenced him to another 5 years on charges of money laundering and fraud and 10 years of ineligibility. So he is not allowed to stand for any election anymore within the next decade. So it seems that Patrick Balkany, he will have to spend some more time in prison. Do you think he's happy there, Sarah?
Sounds like he's, at least he has made himself bit comfortable where he is. According to reports, he has made good friends in the Parisian, in his VIP, I must say. Well, he's in a part of the prison which is for vulnerable people. But this is, according to many, supposed to be read as VIP people, actually. But he, according to rumors, he has got so cozy with his co-inmates that they're nowadays calling him Papa.
Incredible. So even in prison, he's still acting as if he's in charge of everything. Yeah, well, that's French politics.
Marie-Antoinette, this very famous, almost a symbol of France, we could even say, and a symbol also of the end of the reign of the queens and kings of France, and being the last queen of the nation. 226 years after her death, she still she haunts and she fascinates.
Absolutely. Marie-Antoinette, the Austrian princess who married France's last king, Louis XVI. A lot of people are fascinated by her.
She hasn't been described as much. She has been described as the reason while there was a revolution to begin with. She has been described as a woman living in excess and famously, supposedly said, "Let them eat cake."
Yeah, absolutely. Which she never said. Allegedly. And also being accused of having a very, very frivolent and excessive lifestyle, to say the least. But now there's a sort of an attempt to maybe rectify a little bit this image. Yeah, there's actually an exhibition that opened this week in Paris that commemorates the anniversary of her death, which occurred on the 16th of October, 1793. Well, so that's 226 years ago. I don't know why they want to commemorate the 226th anniversary
as good
of her
as
death.
any other day, I guess.
But it's actually interesting that in this exhibition, she's also represented by contemporary artists. There are a lot of stuff from her life. There are about 200 works of arts in the exhibition. Also fashion accessories, because she was well known for wearing very extravagant dresses. But also film extracts. Of course, Marie-Antoinette's life has been filmed many times. I think the last time was by Sofia Coppola, where Marie-Antoinette was played by Kirsten Dunst. Actually, almost a cult movie, huh? She was,
definitely
a very, very hype movie
with Phoenix in playing in music in the movie and everything. And she has become some kind of a pop icon. That's
absolutely
true for many, and symbolized also by the macaron and eating and everything. But there are many ideas about Marie-Antoinette that has been shown to actually be absolutely fake. To begin with, what many are saying that this lifestyle, this luxurious lifestyle that she held was nothing that Marie-Antoinette invented at all. She just walked straight in to a system where this was already in place. And in this whole, where we talked about let them eat cake story, apparently the accusations that's what Queen said is something that French had been saying about queens forever.
Yeah.
But of course, also Marie-Antoinette being a foreigner, it was also easier in some senses to accuse a foreigner of all these things, of using the French resources and of having this extravagant lifestyle that didn't fit, that wasn't accepted no longer by the people. So some are even saying that she was much more down to earth than the image has been.
Many historians also say that the legend is that she was the main cause of the French Revolution. Now, that's of course humbug, because there are many other reasons for the French Revolution. And also that when Marie-Antoinette arrived from Austria, of course, Versailles was already known for its extremely lavish lifestyle. It was the biggest court in Europe, the most extravagant. And when she arrived, France was already broke, just like today, actually. So it wasn't Marie-Antoinette who caused the financial downturn of France.
No, it was more many bad choices by France's governing men.
Absolutely. And at that time, interestingly enough, the finances of the country were the personal finances of the king. So that was how money was handled here. It actually, it hasn't changed a lot in all those centuries. But no, of course, she was the queen, living a luxurious life. But at the same time, she may have been, I wouldn't say a victim, but maybe a collateral damage of the French Revolution. And I think many French still regret the fact that they chopped off the heads of the last king and queen. And that's maybe one of the reasons why they still like to attend these exhibitions, or at least, it's like Jeanne d'Arc, it's also a mythical figure whose story got really completely out of proportion. But nevertheless, there's again now an exhibition.
There are even people comparing Marie-Antoinette to Lady Diana.
Yeah.
Maybe
who also died in France. A couple of 100 meters from the place where Marie-Antoinette was beheaded. Now, so maybe she was just collateral damage, but you can go and see the exhibition for yourself in the Conciergerie. Actually, that's a nice place. It was a former prison, and it was also the place where Marie-Antoinette was held prisoner, and it was the last place where she lived. And from there, she went to the guillotine on the Place de la Concorde. So this is in the Conciergerie, in the heart of the city, and the exhibition lasts till the end of January. Well, that wraps up this edition of So French. We hope you have enjoyed it. You can listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher and YouTube, and we're also on Instagram. Our account is @SoFrenchNews, so please follow us.
And if you like French music, check out our free playlist on Spotify, which we update regularly. Just search for So French Music or click the link on our website. And if you would like to contact us, please mail us on news@sofrench.news.
And you can also listen to us on air on World Radio Paris, the station with a lot of excellent shows in English, not only in Paris, but also at the Côte d'Azur, around Monaco, Nice and Cannes. We're broadcast at 2:30 p.m. local time on Saturday, and then rerun during the week.
We will be back in 2 weeks with a new episode of So French.
We hope you'll join us then. Thanks for listening. Au revoir.